it's Brooke. Welcome back to another video. In my last thrift flip video, I asked if you had any suggestions on ideas that I could use when going to the thrift store. Because I had a lot of fun transforming button downs that I found at the thrift store into new shirts, I figured, is there anything else that you'd like to see? And someone commented that they like to see some knitwear. Now there are two ways that I could go with that. One would be finding legitimate knit sweaters from the thrift store, unraveling them and knitting them into something new, which is totally fine, but what I'm going to do in this video is find a lot of machine knit material and turn it into something new. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the tops that I had made out of the thrifted finds. And in my next video, I'm going to be taking all of the scraps that I have left over and turning them into smaller projects. So this is our big project video. Stay tuned for the smaller project video. But here are some of the ideas that I'm going to be doing in each of those videos. The first thing I do is go to Pinterest and see what kind of garments I can make out of knit material. I'm looking for fitted shirts, anything stretchy. Here are some of the ideas that I came up with. I really like these tight-fitted turtleneck shirts that are a little bit patchwork with all these color combinations. So my priority for this video is just taking a bunch of the color combinations that I found at the thrift store and meshing them all together to make some new shirts. I really love the color combinations that I found on Pinterest, so now we're going to try to make some of them for ourselves. The first one that we are going to start with is the turtleneck shirt. I'm using a turtleneck sweater that I have as reference to then start laying all of these pieces on top of each other to create the pattern pieces. The main technique that I'll be using throughout this entire video is finding something that already fits me. And then with all these new colors and patterns, I'm going to patch them up all together to create the pattern pieces to make a new version of the shirt that I already have. So for this turtleneck, I'm just creating the front piece and the back piece as well as the sleeve pieces. I'm serging all of these edges together just so that nothing frays. This purple knit fabric does fray a little bit more than your usual t-shirt or fleece sweater will, but if you serge it and make sure that all of the ends are finished off nicely, it should be totally fine. This is just a big process of quilting all these pieces together. I'm using my serger to patch them up all together, and then once we're all done this step, we can just put the sweater together as normal. Attaching the front and back at the shoulders, attaching the sleeves around the sleeve holes, and then sewing down the sleeve seams down the side seams. Attaching the neckband, which I took off of the waistband of one of the sweaters that I had purchased at the thrift store. And then hemming the sleeves and the bottom edge. And then the first one we have is all done. This one turned out so cool. I love all the color combinations. I love going on my iPad and just sketching out all the plans that I have, and then I'm so pleasantly surprised when they actually turn out pretty close to the sketch that I came up with. For stretch garments, you want to make sure that if they're only a two-way stretch, meaning that they only stretch one side, you want to make sure that that side is going width-wise. It's more important to have that width stretch so that it can fit over your body, over your arms, and have that ability to stretch, rather than having the stretch going vertical and having your sleeves stretch out really far, but not being able to stretch sideways. So like for this fleece sweater material, it does have more of a two-way stretch than a four-way, so that's something that you really have to be careful of. One way to bypass this by using the same material is by going on the bias, and that will then create a four-way stretch. It does take up more fabric, so that's the only thing to watch out for. I was really happy I was able to combine all of the different types of materials in there. We have a t-shirt, we have a fleece sweater, and then we have two different types of knit garments. But my favorite thing about going to the thrift store for these projects specifically, finding colors and textures that I really like, and then laying them out and seeing the color combinations really come together. Then I can go to my iPad, sketch them all out, and then we can turn them into something really cool. This one turned out so nice it really motivated me to get on to the next two. In this process, I could be totally selfish, but I can't miss out on the fact that taking larger garments is way easier to make something smaller. And the easiest thing to make out of that is kids' clothing. Here are two versions of some kid shirts that I made out of the knit fabric. The first one that I'm making is a sweater for my youngest. He specifically asked for his favorite color, orange. I was really inspired by this sweater from J Moon. I just really liked all the color that came together, so I wanted to make something for my youngest. Just like the first one, I'm starting out with a shirt that I know fits him well. Then I'm piecing all of the colors together, and for this one I'm going to be doing some top stitching with a twin needle on my sewing machine. Using this needle, I'm allowed to have a lot of stretch while also having a really clean line. I could just use a regular zigzag stitch, but I just love the way that a twin needle looks for top stitching. Once I had the front shape sewn down, I left the back and the arms plain, so it was time to put it all together. Again, just nice and easy, putting it together at the shoulder seams, attaching the sleeves, sewing down the sides, adding the cuffs and the neck, and then we are finished. I think that this is so cute. I think that the top stitching makes it look actually really professional. I just love how these colors came together. You can sew up small shirts like this so fast. So this one probably took me about 2 hours to make, which led me some time to make a shirt for my oldest. A few years ago, I found this shirt at the thrift store and I really liked the logo on it, but the shirt was really tattered, so I just cut out the logo and saved it for a rainy day, which I guess happened to be today. So what I'm going to do is take some t-shirts and piece them all together to create a new shirt. I also have a pair of pajama pants that no longer fit my kids, so we're going to turn those pants into sleeves. It's actually pretty easy to do this, just putting the pattern piece onto the legs and cutting out the arm side so that you can place it into the new shirt. After top stitching the printed piece onto the t-shirt, I'm going to leave the edges a little bit raw for just a little bit more of that rock and roll style. Making shirts like this is so easy, you really have to try it for yourself. Just finding shirts that you like the colors of, putting them all together, and making something new. I think he's gonna love this. I really like the pattern of the pajama pants used on the sleeves. I've kept this logo for so long, so it's really nice to see it back onto a shirt. But this is just a really easy way to use your larger scraps to make something brand new. I did go to the thrift store to find some of the more colorful things. I also went through our house to see if there was any clothing that I was willing to donate for the cause. I found this shirt in my kids' room, and initially I was just going to use it as scrap pieces for another shirt like the one I had just made. But as I was figuring it out, I also have been looking for more activewear tops to wear to my yoga classes. It was only until I started to cut off the sleeves and cut off the neckline of this shirt that I realized I could probably just wear this as a top. So I tried it on and realized that it actually did fit me pretty well. Although I like my athletic wear very fitted to the body, it was a little bit tight, maybe because it was made for a child, but I have some extra fabric from the sleeves that I can add in a piece of the back. But I came up with the idea of using some t-shirt material to make some new straps and some piping to add some color back into this piece. What I'm going to do is lay another piece of fleece underneath the bust area so that it can be double lined, and then add in some piping around the sides to create new straps. Finding the stretch of the t-shirt, I cut it into 2-inch strips so that I could then sew it like a bias tape and use it to create new straps. I ironed down all of the seam allowances to create a really nice long strip to use. I'm also adding in some elastic to that front edge so that it doesn't gape. And then I go in with my twin needle to top stitch it down for a really nice look. I'm starting at the top raw edge of the front and folding that blue strip in half and serging it while pulling the fabric to create some tension all across the back and up to the other side of the front. I'm then going to fold the serged edge upwards and top stitch around all of that edge to finish it off. Then I'm going to try it on again and put pins around where I want the extra color to go. I've seen this design done before where they go around the bust and up into the straps. I also think it can be very supportive. So what I'm going to do is add in elastic into the extra strap that I have, zigzag it together, and then I'm going to find the center of the strap, find the center of the front, and then start pinning around with some stretch all around the pins that I had placed. Then I'm going to zigzag stitch the strap around the bust before I go in and do a top stitch across all of the strap, down around the bust and down the other strap. Then I can try it on one last time, pin the straps to where I want them to be, and then stitch them in place. And then once you're all done that, you have a nice brand new top to wear. I'm really excited to wear this to my yoga classes. I really like the colors that these put together. This like muted turquoise is just so pleasing to my eye, and then pairing it with this like off-white color is just so pretty to me. I've been wanting a top with this detail for a while now, so it was really fun to try it out, especially while upcycling some shirts. My tips for thrifting: it can get expensive. Take your time, look through everything. The shirts that are going to be more expensive are usually the ones that are of nicer quality and have 0 to no stains on them. The ones that I like to look for are the ones that are stained and maybe have holes in them, because I know that I'm probably not going to wear the shirt as is. I'm going to cut it up and make it into something new. So I can cut around the stains, I can cut around the holes and turn it into something new where you wouldn't even know it had holes to begin with. Although I used a kid's shirt to make something for myself, I don't feel good about using kids' clothes from the thrift store. A lot of the time, kids' clothing at the thrift stores that I go to are you fill a bag and then it's that price. As much as I could go and just take a bunch of shirts from that kids section, I do feel bad. Kids grow out of clothing so much that it's nice to have that resource for parents to go to. So unless it's already in my house, I usually try to stay away from that bin. For another reason why I don't pick up the nicer shirts at the thrift store. Someone can wear a nice shirt at the thrift store as is. Most of the time I'm going to cut it up. I would rather have someone pay money for a nicer shirt rather than me pay money to cut it up. After doing all of these projects, I've been left with so many scraps that I'm going to make an entirely new video after this one about what I'm going to do with all of the scraps afterwards. Here's a sneak peek if you dare. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.